the furnace that cooled, and the ice that burned. On the reconciliation of opposites in substance. In an alchemist's workshop, on a winter morning, two substances sent him a message. The first was a furnace. The furnace had been burning continuously for 30 years. The alchemist had inherited it with the workshop from his own master. The furnace had been built by his master's master 2 generations before that. It had not in 80 years been allowed to go out. It had been fed day and night by a succession of apprentices, charcoal by charcoal, with the slow vigilance the work required. The furnace was, by the present winter, very tired. It said to the alchemist in the quiet of the morning, "Master, I have been burning for 80 years. I have not in 80 years been cool. I do not know what cool is. I have learned in some intricate way every variation of heat, the soft heat of a banked fire, the white heat of full bellows, the pulsing heat of the bellows in time with the working hand. I have produced every transformation the work has required. But I have not, in my whole long life, been allowed to be cold. I am exhausted. I would like, please, to be cool. I would like to know what it is before I die." The alchemist heard this. He sat with the furnace for a while. Then, in the same morning, the second message came. It came from an ice block in the cold cellar beneath the workshop. The ice block had been there for 80 years also. It had been brought down in the time of the master's master from a glacier in the mountains and packed in straw and kept in the cellar, replaced, when it melted, with another block, but always in some essential sense the same ice. It had been used in the work. It had cooled vessels. It had condensed vapors. It had stopped reactions at the precise moment they needed to be stopped. It had not in 80 years been warm. It said, "Master, I have been cold for 80 years. I have not in 80 years known what warmth is. I have stopped many things. I have allowed many condensations. I have been in my way useful. But I am also exhausted. I would like, please, to be warm. I would like to know what it is before I melt." The alchemist heard both messages. He sat in the workshop for a long time, considering. He understood that he could not, in any direct way, give either of them what they were asking for. He could not cool the furnace. The work required it to burn. He could not warm the ice. The work required it to be cold. The two substances were what they were. Their lives had been spent in their natures. They could not, by any means he knew, become each other, but he had been an alchemist a long time. He brought the furnace and the ice block into the same room. He did not put them next to each other. He placed the furnace at one end of a wide stone chamber. He placed the ice block at the other end, perhaps 20 feet away. He sealed the chamber. He left a small window in the door through which he could watch. For a day, nothing happened. For 2 days, nothing happened. The furnace continued to burn. The ice block continued to be cold. The chamber, which was large and stone, contained both their natures without either of them affecting the other. The alchemist, watching through the window, was at first disappointed. On the third day he noticed something. The air in the chamber, in the space between the furnace and the ice block, had begun to shimmer. It was not a shimmer of heat, exactly. The chamber was too cold in places for that. It was not a shimmer of cold. The chamber was too hot in places for that either. It was a different shimmer. It was the shimmer of an air that had been touched, from one side by heat and from the other side by cold, and that had begun slowly to develop a third quality, a quality neither hot nor cold, but charged somehow with the meeting of the two. The alchemist watched the shimmer grow. On the 7th day, the shimmer had become visible as a kind of haze in the middle of the chamber, a soft, golden haze with no source of light hovering between the furnace and the ice. The haze did not approach either substance. It hovered. On the 14th day, the alchemist opened the door of the chamber and stepped inside. He walked carefully to the middle of the chamber. He stood in the golden haze. He breathed. He breathed in something he had not, in his whole life, breathed before. It was not air. Or it was air, but it was air that had been made into something more than air. It was the breath of the meeting between the furnace and the ice, made visible. It had a soft warmth that was not heat, and a soft coolness that was not cold. It moved into his lungs as smoke moves, but it did not burn. It moved into his blood. He felt it in his hands, in his feet, in the small bones of his face. He stood in the haze for an hour. he left the chamber. He walked on legs that felt new back to his workshop. He sat down. He understood then what had happened. The furnace had not cooled. The ice had not warmed. They could not, by their natures, do what they had asked to do. But the chamber, holding them in the same room without their touching, had produced a third substance. The third substance was made of the meeting that had been impossible. The third substance was the work he had spent his life trying to make, and had never, until the third day, glimpsed. He had been chasing it all his life in the wrong place. He had been trying to make the furnace cool or the ice warm. He had been trying to make the opposites become each other. They could not become each other. They were each in their being what they were. But held in the same room without joining, they had produced, in the air between them, the substance the work had been after. The alchemist lived for 30 more years. He breathed daily from the chamber. He did not consume the haze, he only breathed it. The furnace continued to burn. The ice continued to be cold. They had not, in fact, been given what they had asked for. They had been given, instead, a purpose neither of them had imagined, to produce, by their continued opposition, the substance the master had needed all his life. The furnace, when at last it was allowed to die 60 years later, in the time of the next alchemist, died briefly of its own great age and was rebuilt. The ice was replaced in due course by another ice. The chamber, however, was kept. The chamber, in time, became the heart of the workshop. The substance the chamber produced was, in time, the only substance the workshop sold. It was very valuable. It was bought at great prices by people who did not know what it was, and who were, after buying it and breathing it, changed in ways they could not have explained. The alchemist, when he died, was buried in the chamber. His tomb was a small stone slab in the floor. The furnace burned above his head. The ice cooled beside his feet. The haze eternally hovered between. He had wanted nothing else. The furnace cannot cool. The ice cannot warm. They are what they are, held in the same room. Without joining, they produce between them a third substance the work has been after. The opposites do not, in the end, become each other. They produce, by their continued opposition, the third thing. The third thing is the work. The work is breathed, not made. The alchemist who tries to merge the opposites fails. The alchemist who holds them in the same room succeeds.